Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Morning People. I am Nina, and this is episode 2 of my mini series with Brandi. We're just going to get right into it, but before we do, I would like to remind you that there are some heavy topics that come up. So if you are in crisis, please reach out to the Suicide Crisis Helpline. You can call 988 or text 988. Please listen with care.
Or
There we go.
we're
We're back. So, anyways, I win fibromyalgia.
Yay! You get a trophy.
Thank you. I
Trophy.
will be expecting one.
I'll send it in the mail. It'll be great.
Oh my goodness. So,
Yes.
besides humor,
Yes.
obviously, that's another thing. A lot of people in my life are like, at least you can laugh about it. And it's like, you have to.
Yeah, what's the other choice?
Like, it's
I'm
either I
already
laugh.
crying today, so this is just something new.
Exactly. And I don't think you'll ever find like funnier people than people who are sick. You know,
Probably. Yeah,
I,
or been through a
it's,
lot.
yeah. It's like just trauma builds so much character and we're all hilarious.
So much character, it's unbelievable. Just all the character.
Yeah. Many different characters too.
That's right. That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
So when you have like a really, really bad day,
Yeah.
what do you do to survive it?
So first, I'm going to compare a bad day years ago to today,
Okay.
because today's bad days are nothing like they were years ago. So, an example, like how I got through years ago was Kevin,
Mhm.
my partner. He like literally helped me stay alive over time. So, for example, I would get really bad paranoia. So poor Kevin came home from work one day and I'm sitting in the center of knives. And the knives are pointing outwards because they are keeping me safe from the evil voices, right? And I think there were like skipping ropes or something around me, like anything to close the circle. And he walked in and he was calm. He put down his stuff and I explained. I said, I'm keeping the evil voices out." And he just came over and he just hugged me and sat with me until I grounded. So I just used his nervous system to regulate my nervous system. So these were some of the days that I had, or I was so low, I could not dress myself. There was just no way. So he would, take my, he'd say, put up your arms. So I'd put up my arms and he'd take the top off and put my pajamas on. Or he'd cook for me. He'd cut my food sometimes. So the awful days getting through, I couldn't have done it on my own. I don't think I could have. I think I would have been in the hospital a lot more often. So I don't have any real kind of good help for when it's really bad because I I don't have any skills for when it's that bad.
Yeah.
It's like if I didn't have this, I'm in the hospital. Those are my 2 choices. Today's bad days are generally not, maybe they are just as bad in my brain, but because I've embodied so many coping tools, it's not destroying me like it used to. So, I watch a lot of murder documentaries because it's common.
Yeah, girl. Me too.
Fall asleep to them because it's just their voices are, like, monotone
Mhm.
and, like,
Mhm.
I don't know, it's just easier for me than, like, a romantic comedy. A romantic
Yeah.
comedy has all these feelings, it's like, I wanna feel nothing.
Yes.
Make me numb and just talk to me about death.
No, people think I'm crazy that it's relaxing to me. And I have been like this since I was a wee child.
Yeah.
When I was 8 years old, I wanted to be a blood spatter specialist. Like, I would watch Forensic Files
How
with my
cool would
dad,
that be?
and I would take notes and shit. Like, yeah, no, it runs deep in my veins.
They're
Continue,
ama
sorry. I was
they're
gonna
ama
jump in.
They're amazing. But it's sometimes just turning off all the stimulation in the house and just putting on Everybody Loves Raymond? Everybody Loves Raymond, or, like, 90s shows that I've seen 100 times, so I know how they end up. Sugar, even though that's not a healthy way to do it, still sugar. I still use Kevin for his nervous system, although that's something I'm working on now. Yeah, you just you have enough awful days, and it just I don't even think you call them awful anymore. You just call them days.
Fuck, you did it again, Brandi. God damn it. No, I didn't give you, like, a preemptive look at this question because it just kinda
That's
hit
okay.
me, but because and I like, if this isn't a fair question to ask you, that's totally fine, but because, this space is grief of all kinds,
Mhm.
do you ever do you feel guilt for your partner's role as the caretaker? Like, does he ever grieve any of that? Does he go to therapy? Do you go together? Like, how do you navigate that dynamic? Because I know that relying on another person for safety is sometimes big hit to your ego, and not just your ego, but your entire psyche, and you feel so much guilt when your survival is put on the shoulders of somebody else. Is
Yeah.
that too much?
No,
Okay,
nothing's too much.
okay.
I took Lametrigine and didn't die of the rash, so nothing's too much.
You can handle anything.
I can handle anything, but I didn't get the deadly rash. I used to feel a lot more shame and guilt, partly because I had to rely on him more. I've felt a lot of guilt because for a long time I couldn't work very much, and I still can't work a lot, but I can work like 24 hours a week. So I'm bringing in money, so that decreases some of the guilt. So the thing about Kevin and I have also been through other really stressful times. So, like, we had a brewery and we ran it through COVID and then eventually had to close because everything is closing now because of COVID. So that had its own tremendous amount of stress and grief. So when you forge intimacy around constant survival and emergencies, like these are bonds that are just, like, fucking cellular level. So, on one hand, yeah, there is grief. There's grief for, like, who would we be if we didn't have all this stress? Who could I be? He's someone who focuses a lot on other people's needs, which is something he's working on himself to try and focus on his own needs because he feels like there's more space now. So, he makes me emotional. But one of his purposes in life, he told me, is me. Right now, we're all crying. And a big part of that is he loves helping to take care of me. Even with all the awfulness, he's just a caretaker at heart. And that causes its own, like, enmeshment issues and codependency and stuff like that. But so there's the 2 sides. There's the deep bondedness, and then the what if.
Mm,
The
mhm,
grief of the what would our life look like if I wasn't like this? Like, his life would have been easier. Would it have been as growth oriented? And would it been as deep? Maybe not, but it would have been easier, right? So there's grief there. He's done a lot of his own counseling. I've done a lot of my own counseling. We've gone to counseling together. But a lot of it we've just figured out ourselves.
mhm, mhm.
Silence.
It's just really beautiful. It's kind of like you 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 couldn't have had a better person beside you
No.
this whole time, and I think that that's really beautiful and that you're both really lucky to have each other. And a lot of people who are sick feel like a burden and feel like their illness is going to jeopardize their relationship and their future and their stability. And a lot of times in partnerships, it's more than a partnership. It's this is my housing security. This is
Yeah.
my food security, right? For both people these days. So there's so much riding on being able to work through and grow. That's the biggest part, to grow through these things together, right? And I just think that
Yeah.
that's really beautiful that you both have that. And
Something
now
that
I feel emotion.
a
So thank you.
mosh
Yeah.
a mosh, that's different. Something that really helped us is that because I'd done so much of my own, so we didn't get together until I was, like, 28. So I had done
Okay.
a ton of work already, so I was able to stop in the middle of an episode and be like, "This is what you need to do. This is what you need to say. This is how you need to hold me. This is what you don't say, and then when this is over, this is what you do." So it's like I would be able to pull myself out like I was a second person watching and give that information and then fall back into the episode. So
That's wild.
not many people can do that. And I'm also trained in psychology and counseling.
Yeah.
So I have a ton of skills in that area. So most people can't do that. Wherein and therein lies the problem with their partner is that the person who's ill, they can't tell the partner what they need because they can't form what they need. They're just trying to breathe and not die, and their partner's watching this helplessly going, "What the fuck do I do? If I don't have a script, I'm just gonna freak out, and then we're gonna push each other away, and then we're alone, distant, and then it falls apart."
Yeah. Sorry, I just like I just keep ruminating over like just how beautiful it is, and because being sick is so isolating and so scary, and it's filled with so much shame, to have someone that can witness all those parts of you and still want to love you through it, like, that's bold. And, it's scary for both of you, right? Like, I'm sure it was. I can't speak for you guys, but I it's 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 just so powerful on both ends of the spectrum, you know? For
Yeah,
you, it's powerful that you can be who you are, and that vulnerable, and to have to rely on somebody else as someone who is that sick is huge,
yeah.
right? And to just do it unabashedly and be like, "I wrote the fucking script for you
Here you
to
go.
make it a bit easier.
Yeah,
Here you go." And for him to take the book,
yeah,
that blows my mind. And I think I wish that a lot more people had both of those powers within them, you know?
yeah,
It would be a lot less scary to be sick, I think.
yeah, and it's not like we don't have our issues because we've been through so much and because we're both growth oriented, we are constantly redefining our relationship and who we are.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
that's exhausting. And, so it's not all like, happy roses and like
No,
rainbow,
I understand that,
but
but Brandy, what I'm saying is, if if you were to come home and your partner is on the floor with knives,
yes, like
that's
you
a deal
do.
breaker. That's a deal breaker for a lot of people, right?
I think it's hard for me to know that now
I'm not
because
talking about the everyday little things. Everyone is gonna have those things. These are big fucking deals.
so, yeah, I have a very skewed view of relationships now. So if someone had to come in after Kevin, they'd be like, "I'm out."
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
he
She is a red flag.
just everything is a red flag. So I do have a skewed because that's just our baseline now. It's like,
Yeah.
well, no, that's what people do. You come home and there's knives. You just walk them through it, right?
Yeah.
This is just what you do.
People can't walk each other through what they want for dinner, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It
So
did he is a very special
I
person.
feel like you're downplaying how much of an accomplishment it is for both of you, right?
Probably.
And
It's
like,
just like life now.
I'm going to say, especially you, because you're the sick one. And I know that for someone sick, it's harder to do basic, easy life.
Yeah.
So when you have all these things thrown on top of you and you're sick, hard life is exponentially harder than it is for someone who's able-bodied or more clear-headed, right? So I think that you need to, not to tell you what to do, but
I'll take a note. Brownie needs.
I'm gently going to suggest you welcome my love and warmth and my compliments.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Because I don't know, like I said, I just think that sharing that experience, like, in itself is beautiful, right? And I just think that it shows that being sick doesn't always have to be lonely. And
Yeah.
again, it's not inspiration porn, but it's just showing the the human compassionate side of chronic illness, you know?
So for the grief piece for him, so there's 2 pieces on his side, I think, or one's on my side, but one's on his side. Early on in the relationship, he he came to a realization, or he came to an acceptance that I might kill myself and he'd still stay. Like, he might lose me, but he's gonna accept that and stay. And some days would be very scary for him, especially at the beginning, especially when I was really unwell. But he there was grief for him there, I think, but there was also acceptance. And I think that's him saying that out loud and being able to accept that is what allowed him to stay.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then on my side, like, chronic illness, there's a grief of identity, right? Sustained identity because you're all over the place. Something that helps, or I found that helped me, and it's not necessarily just from your partner, but a through line for my identity is watching how he looks at me. So when he sees all I go through, all he sees is strength
Yeah.
and determination and resilience, even though I don't really like that word.
Mhm.
And the empathy that's come out of it, and my ability to communicate that's come out of it. And he's just amazed at that person. So sometimes when I can't see the through line of who I am, I can use his perception and his reflection to kind of remember who I am even when I'm going through awfulness. Like in silence.
What like, how do I you can't add to that, right? Like, now you're just talking to me, and I'm zipping it. It's just like, I can't be like, "To add, here's a little quip," I thought of while you were talking. I was, like, in that. My
And it doesn't
brain
have to be your partner, right? It can be
yeah.
your counselor, it can be your friends, it can be yourself. If you journal a lot, going back
Mm.
through and being like, "Yeah, okay."
Do you know, part of the reason why I even started doing this was I was getting into death work and, like, becoming I don't like saying death doula. I don't think doula is a word that someone of my complexion should be thrown out there. Like, the audacity. So I like to say, like, death companion or, like, coach, I don't know. But we were talking about legacies, and this was all kind of during when I got really, really sick. Like, I've always been running on empty, but I crashed, like, last year at some point, and I was like, "I don't even have a legacy." Like, all I've ever done is love children for a living, you know? Like, I take care of other people's kids, and that's about it. And you don't really see that. And it's a really kind of forgotten role, and people don't really put a lot of thought into what entails. And I was thinking about my son and him having to grow up with a sick mom. I've been sick his whole life, and I ran my own daycare for 8 years, and so it was nice to be able to pick him up from school every day when he was little and stuff like that. And on weekends, he would go out with his dad, and I would stay home and do the chores I could do and try to recoup for the next week ahead. And now I'm not even working, and I have a child to support, and he's a teenager, and the older they get, the more things that they need in their lives. And they're not employed because they're a teenager. And
Yeah.
it's just like this huge explosion of all of these responsibilities that I now feel like I'm completely ill equipped to take care of because I'm a sick person and I can't even fucking work. I work 2 hours a day. And all I want, I'm going to start crying now. All I want is for him to see that, like, even if I don't look like I am, I like strong. I want him to recognize the strength in me that it takes for me to even work 2 hours a day. I don't drive because I pass out in cars, so I have to ride a fucking
That would be a
scooter.
problem.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. It's like 15 minutes in a car, and I gotta put my legs on the dash and, like, roll the window down and deep breathe or I'm out.
Oh.
And at 17, I don't think that he has the ability to understand that none of this has been easy for me, and if I could be a different person, I would be, right? And he's pretty understanding, but I just want him to see that through all of it, all I've ever done is my best for him, and to love him more, you know? And as much pain as I'm in and as tired as I'm in, I love him more, you know? I don't even know what my point is. I guess you saying that, you see your strength through your partner's eyes. Like, I want to see my strength through my son's eyes, you know? And I really hope that one day I can get there. Do you know what I mean? Because that's all I want is to not fuck, be a disappointment to him, you know?
Yeah.
Randy, look what you've done.
You know what? So many people cry around me. It's like, if I had a superpower, it'd be people just crying. They just start talking and they just start crying.
I actually told my son, I was like, we should do an episode together and you can talk about the grief of
Yeah.
having a sick mom, you know?
Is he into that?
Yeah, I think he would be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think it's so funny that it's like, I don't give a shit what my partner thinks. Like, I want my son to be proud.
We all have the people, right? We all have I'm sure if we had kids or a kid, I'd have a similar feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. That's wild. Ah, I'm sure he knows. He's a good boy. He's such a good kid. It's ridiculous.
There's, like, some things that parents who are well can't teach their kids. Because so much of kids growing up, it's a lived experience. It's not cognitive. They're not 10 years old looking at their parent going, "Hmm, is she able to separate, what's actually happening from the thoughts that she's having?" Or, right? They're not doing
Yeah.
this. So everything's going through their body, their nervous system.
Mhm.
So when they grow up with an understanding that there is this hardness in the world and there is this pain, but there's also this softness and this strength and this humor and this ability to just keep moving forward. Like, those are gifts.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
not easily won, and it's not fair for anyone. That's
Yeah.
that's the truth underneath all of it. It's that
Mhm.
it sucks and it's not fair for anyone. But the capacity for empathy and the capacity for truth and the capacity for seeing things how they really are. It's like these are skills that unless you live it, you don't have.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny because his birthday's next week, and like I said, he's gonna be 17, and it's just too much for me to even think about, not only, okay, you're gonna be 17, but in 3 years you're gonna be 20, and I don't even understand how that works, you know?
Yeah.
And every birthday I get really emotional. When I was 19, I was told I wouldn't be able to have children.
Okay.
Because of the endometriosis and, like, where it was in my body and stuff, so he's not, like, my miracle baby, but he is my miracle baby,
Yeah.
and I just get really emotional every birthday because he's always just been a beautiful person. Like, he's always had a big heart and a kind spirit, and he's thoughtful, and he's giving, and I actually texted him last night So I was talking to my brother, we were talking about, like, when my son was born and stuff, and I said, like, "I'm just so glad my dog is moving." He laughed. He's stretching out. "Sorry to bother you, Bosco." I'm just so glad that he has my caring heart, you know?
Yeah.
And if I wasn't sick his whole life, maybe having a caring heart wouldn't even be an option, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Having kids is fucking crazy.
It looks crazy. It
It's
looks like a lot. It looks crazy and a lot.
it's crazy and a lot, and I I scream it from the mountaintops. I could not be a luckier parent.
Yeah.
This child has made it, like, a 16-year-old boy who you can just, like, talk to and laugh with and text all day, and, like, we're friends, but I'm his mom first, you know?
Yeah.
It couldn't be easier. I'm not saying it's not hard, but most of what's hard of it for me is my anxiety,
Yeah.
worrying he's gonna die every second of the day. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Which also, here's something. We're totally off topic now because 'cause I'm
No,
crazy.
dying keeps coming up. That's related to grief.
That's true. I think that we need to be more open as women, especially in saying that, like, if I had known, so I've had mental health issues my whole life. I have OCD and depression and anxiety and stuff. If I had known what having a child would do to my anxiety, I don't think I would have had children. And it has nothing to do with my son as a person. Clearly, I love him a lot. But I feel like we need to talk more openly about how, like, our own mental health needs to come into play before we decide to bring other people into this world because it's fucking
100%.
crazy.
100%. 2 things I was thinking of when you were talking. One is your son is totally your legacy, and it's not just your son specifically, it's what he's gonna bring into the world. If he's this person who has this compassion and this empathy, and he's going into a world that is lacking a lot of that shit, and him coming from a place that's rooted in kindness and in understanding that life's hard and that you just have to get through shit, like, just him going into the world is gonna change the people around him, and those people are gonna change the people around him. So you're putting a light into the world that's your legacy.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And the second thing is, yeah, totally, about kids and mental health. So me and my partner, we did think about having kids for a long time. He'd be an amazing dad. I'd be a mom. He'd be an amazing
On
dad.
paper.
Yes. Mom would be my title, and sometimes I'd probably be okay, and sometimes I wouldn't. He would have been an amazing dad, but at f part so when we were thinking about children, it was like, first of all, bipolar is hugely genetic,
Yeah.
and it doesn't even mean the person's gonna get bipolar, ADHD, like, mental health just in general, right? So I was like,
Mhm,
I don't want to pass that along, and I'd have to come off a bunch of my meds.
mhm.
So I wasn't gonna carry the baby. So then we looked into adoption and all that stuff. Look, it's hard, expensive,
Yeah,
it's a lot going on.
yeah.
Uh, and I remember one day we went to where is it? It's by the water in Vancouver. Anyway, we kinda sat down and we were kinda like, "What kind of life do we wanna live?" Like, that was the conversation. Do we want because we're getting to the cutoff point, right? Like,
Yeah.
we're probably like, getting towards 40, like, mid to late, right? So we're getting to the cutoff, and we're kinda like, "Let's look at this, like, holistically. Let's look at the whole picture." Because I was never someone who's like, "I wanna have kids." Like, I wasn't like, "I'm gonna get married and have kids, and that's how it goes." That didn't click for me. So I didn't have this instinct to do that. And Kevin didn't really have that instinct either. So we are kinda able to look at it holistically, and I was like, if I had a kid, I'd be suffering even more most of the time, and I can't.
Mhm,
Not even I
mhm.
can't, I don't want to.
Yeah.
And so, like, you do have to put your mental health in there, and for some people, it's worth it, right? If they
Mhm.
really children and they're really drawn to that, that's a different story. But if it wasn't something that I was really pulled towards, like, me being okay, 1,000 times more important than me having a kid.
Well, and the thing is I'm not saying I'm a perfect mother, and I cannot say that my mental health didn't affect Owen's childhood in a huge way. I think I had postpartum depression until he was 5. I couldn't leave the house for the longest time. I was scared to leave the house. I had the public health nurse when I first had him. She was coming to check on me, and I was like, "Why are you coming to my home?" And it's probably because I told her I wanted to put him in the closet and go for a walk by myself,
Ah,
you know,
oh, what some alarm bells I'm thinking would go off.
right? Here I go getting really candid. When he was probably 7, I tried to kill myself. Like, I fully, like, left him a stuffy and a card, and I went to the river, and I took shit ton of muscle relaxers and alcohol, and it was just bad, you know? I've put that child through a lot, and I feel like I just think that not having a child outweighs trying to fucking kill yourself basically in front of your child, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And if I had known that that was gonna be the outcome, I probably wouldn't have done it. Especially now that I know who he is, he to have to put someone like that through that, like, he's such a gentle, kind boy, and I honestly I would say that I wasn't even a really good mom until probably 10 years ago, you know? And I was angry, and I would yell all the time, and I remember I was yelling at him because I was overwhelmed, and I had to clean, and I was just, "Ugh," and it was the morning, and he was getting ready for school, and I was getting ready for work, and I just exploded, and he was crying, and I was like, "You're not going to school today, you're staying home. Don't go to school, like, we're not starting our day like this." And I realized, like, where all this anger was coming from, and, like, I haven't raised my voice since that day. Like, this is when I really started, like, with meditation and inner child healing and all of this kinda shit, so I never had to be that person again, and it's like, I finally got to a space where I could be a good mom. Not that I never, like, loved him, obviously, but my mental health was so bad that it was like, I had no right bringing a child into this world, but I had no idea
Yeah.
until I was halfway through it, you know?
Yeah.
Because you get as a woman, you're supposed to have a child.
This is what I hear. This is what I hear through the grapevine.
I am the first person to say, "No, don't do it." If you don't want to, don't do it, especially if you have mental health problems. You figure that shit out first. I coulda saved my son so much trauma
Yeah.
if I worked on my shit before I had a kid, you know?
Yeah.
It's insane, and I just think that we really need to feel safe having do you know how scared I am that all of that shit just came out of my mouth?
Yeah.
But it's like, if we're not talking about it, then we're never gonna feel safe with any decision we make around motherhood when it comes to our mental health, right? Like, it's just it's really scary, honestly. It's really scary because what if my mental health was a little bit worse than it was and I didn't know?
Yeah.
What if I dove right off the deep end into postpartum depression, you know? It's just I think that it needs to be less of a taboo issue and, like, more of a safe space to say, "I don't want children."
I think the younger generations, it is more of a safe space. So there was some studies done through different generations of saying why you don't want kids. And for a long time, it was like money or can't find a partner. And then eventually, the biggest answer was, I just don't want them.
Yeah.
And they're at a space, or a lot of them seem to be at a space where that's okay now. Where it's
Mhm.
like, "Hey, I'm looking at my life, and maybe I could have a kid, and I could have, a healthy kid, and I could be a good mom." and, I could live this alternate life that could be wonderful. And I want, the career that I want. I want it to be about me the whole time. And the obsession with women being martyrs, like,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
obsession with it, and,
Hmm.
like, this badge of honor, like, I gave up everything, and I think women are now coming to the point where it's like, "Well, I gave up everything, where is my medal?" And it's like, there's no
We
fuck no, you just gave it up.
we know I'll be making my own. So
That's
I
right.
have a praise king.
All of these Nina medals. But yeah, like, what am I talking about?
I'm sorry. I'm terrible at this.
That's okay. No, you're really good at this. Oh, but just women being able to say, you know, eh, you can use the word selfish. I have this friend and she calls me delightfully selfish. I think that's what she calls me. And at first I was like, huh. And then I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
I am. Because, I want a lot of things to be about me. I want
Who
my life
doesn't?
to be about me because it's about me and I want it to be about me. And like the shame that women carry and the guilt that women carry when they come to the realization that A, they were self-sacrificing and no one's bringing them an award and now they're pissed. And B, they could have been living a different existence even if they had kids. They could have been living from a place of, "No, I also get to be selfish in this area."
Yeah. Yeah. And is it selfish or is it like self-preservation? You know?
I don't like the words. I just use the word selfish because that's kind of what's thrown out there a lot.
Yeah.
Um,
Boundaries.
and it's also taking away the negative of
So that was my talk with Brandy, round 2, episode 2. Next week's episode, I decided to pay for Zoom. So we actually say goodbye to each other. I hope you appreciate the chaos of listening to someone who doesn't know how to make a podcast figure it out in real time. Thank you for being here today. I hope you have a great day. You're not alone. You're a morning person. Bye, friends.